Welcome to the draft ranking series. It's draft season, so now it's time to talk about who is the best of the best. The most stacked positional group on the defensive side of the ball is the cornerbacks, and that is who I'm going to talk about today. With all of these prospects being day 1 or day 2 selections, there will be a lot of strengths covered today. If you're new, subscribe to the channel as I'm going to be doing these safeties and I've already done every other positional group. But for now, I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and welcome to the top 10 cornerbacks in the 2024 NFL Draft. Enjoy. Before I get into the top 10, I have 2 honorable mentions because these guys barely missed out on the list. Those 2 players are Georgia cornerback Kamari Lassiter and Rutgers cornerback Max Melton. Those guys are ranked 11th and 12th respectively, but we got a top 10 list to cover, so let's dive into it. Kicking off this list, there are 3 Auburn cornerbacks projected to go in the first 5 rounds. The best of those 3 is DJ James. James provides a skill set that worked in college football and should work in the NFL, as he provides a lot of versatility. James has phenomenal anticipation because of a combination of mental traits and timing reps and a quick transition out of his back pedal to launch forward. He also plays with great instincts in zone coverages, mainly out of cover 4, and he provides good transitions through defenders when playing parallel to the safeties. As a result, I do like James's upside to potentially be a threat at the safety position in the NFL. Finally, he's got solid explosiveness that primarily comes through the quick feet aforementioned. James comes in at 6 foot 175 pounds, which is already pretty lean, and the rest of the negatives don't get me too excited. Because he's got neutral play strength, somewhat leaning towards being a negative, it's not a good thing that he can't make up for it with athleticism, as that's a neutral point as well. But outside of those, his footwork can be a bit erratic at times. While it's quick, he just needs to be more decisive with it. On top of that, he can bite on combo routes at times, and the erratic footwork can allow for too many yards of separation. James is a high upside prospect who will absolutely translate if he goes into a zone-heavy defensive scheme. He receives a B- grade, which is an early 3rd round nod, and a 68 overall. At number 9, I have the first of 2 Mizzou corners on this list. The first one is Chris Abrams-Draine. Both corners are smaller according to standards, but they can make up for it in many other spots. But with Abrams-Draine specifically, he has some elite ball skills. He might have some under average arm length, but his fantastic concentration is proven with his 7 career interceptions and 33 career pass breakups. He's also got top-notch patience in his anticipation, putting together some great timing for that click and close. He's a high IQ situational defender who also puts together a lot of grit, not giving up until the end of the whistle. On top of these great traits, he also provides great alignment versatility as a cornerback, and he has upside as a vertical corner. With all of those positives alone, Abrams-Draine looks like a stud, but the negatives are concerning because of their translatability. And yes, that does start with him being a smaller corner. He's 5'11", 179 pounds with average arm length. As a result, he just doesn't provide the play strength that teams want to see, and he's often knocked away and embarrassed physically. He also plays too high in man coverage, with his pad level giving him less fluent transitions from his back pedal. Finally, he is an inconsistent tackler who just doesn't have a good technique. Abrams-Draine absolutely has concerns for if he will be able to translate over to the NFL, but the positives are a very good start for his stock. He gets a B grade, which is a late 2nd round nod, and a 69 overall. As we move on to number 8, I have a guy who I'm pretty mixed on, and that is Oregon corner Kyrie Jackson. I want to put him in the top 5 because of one of the games I watched. I want to leave him out of the top 10 because some of his negatives are very concerning. So I settled on number 8 eventually. Jackson's positives begin with his physicality, as he does a great job jamming in press coverage using his nice length and physical tools. He's one of the tallest DBs in this class at 6'4", and he uses that height to provide long strides going vertical. He's smart enough to rarely bite on combo routes, and even if he does, His length and height allow for good recovery ability. That length also gives him solid ball skills and more upside there in the NFL, especially going deep, as he also has nice ball tracking. So Jackson is a physically imposing corner, which is very different from number 9 on this list. So why is he number 8 and not any higher? Well, he's got mediocre anticipation. It can be fixed in the league, but that involves sacrificing, barely biting on combo routes, and it will take a couple years to be great at. His explosiveness on routes just isn't great in general, and he's often late to react to his close. Finally, he struggles to deconstruct run blocks despite his physicality, making him not as impactful in the run game as teams desire. Jackson has a huge concern with anticipation that keeps him lower on this list, but his physicality does enough to get him on. He receives a B grade and a late second round nod just like Abrams' Drain, but he is a 70 overall player instead. At number 7, I have a guy who I want to be higher on this list, but it just doesn't work like that because of translation concerns. That guy is Michigan corner Mike Sanderstill, and while I am very impressed with him on tape, the negatives will help you understand why he's not higher. It starts with his frame that will absolutely keep him in the slot. He's 5'9", 182 pounds, and even if he played everywhere in college, he's got little outside corner value at the next level. Even outside of that, he doesn't provide great play strength and can get knocked off balance fairly easily, especially on the reps where he plays too high. And even outside of that, he tends to leave way too much of a cushion in off-man coverage. But the positives are absolutely there, more than you would think the number 7 cornerback would have. He has the upside to be a top 3 slot corner in the NFL. Sanderstill is an extremely explosive athlete who shows that in his surprising amount of pass rush experience. He blitzes from the slot a lot, and he jumps off the snap so damn well. His man coverage ability is good as you'd expect from a plus athlete, but he really shines in run support, being patient before tackling and taking away lanes so well, despite his size. He's also both alignment versatile through his experience and scheme versatile with his ability to play both man and zone coverage at efficient rates. Finally, his anticipation isn't anything special, but it is still solid. So Sanderstill has heavy concerns for translating to the NFL, but all of these positives will make him pretty special in the league. He has the same exact grade as Jackson, B grade, 70 overall player, late second round nod. Coming in at number 6, we have the hottest topic in this entire cornerback class. Iowa's Cooper DeJean might be the first white corner to start a game in ages. But taking race out of this, and the fact that I'm lower on him than most analysts are, this kid's really good. I already made a full scouting report on DeJean in a separate video, so go check out that video after these rankings. For that reason, this won't take long. Positively, DeJean is a bigger corner who absolutely shows that play strength in his route coverage and his ability to jam at the line. Even outside of that, he has the elusiveness to mirror receivers and the speed to go stride for stride on vertical routes. He also adds nice production and versatility, but also shows positives in run support, being one of the best run defending corners in this class. Negatively, I'm genuinely unsure on what scheme he will fit in. He has sluggish footwork that gives negatives for his anticipation in the league. He sometimes plays too cautious in off-man coverage, and he can play with back to ball too much in man. He also just doesn't transition well out of zone, which takes away the safety rumors that many people have put together. So DeJean has a lot of positives and a lot of negatives, but he brings a skill set that will solidify itself quickly in the NFL. DeJean receives a B+ grade, which is a mid-second round nod and a 72 overall, and should just barely get him in the first round on my big board. We have 5 A grades in this video, which is crazy. But entering into the top 5, I have the second Mizzou corner on this list, that being Ennis Rakestraw Jr. So Rakestraw really came out of nowhere in the middle of the season, enough to where I had to learn that I'm pronouncing his name wrong as I used to pronounce it Rackstraw. Being serious though, Rakestraw's physicality is top notch in this class. He's able to legally hold on to routes, he jams very well in press coverage, and his play strength is good enough where I could see him being the Joey Porter Jr. of this class. Outside of the physicality, he has some great anticipation where some reps couldn't be more perfectly timed. He has the footwork and the elusiveness to mirror routes in tight man. He has good length to disrupt the pass at high rates, and he has solid explosiveness out of his route breaks. Rakestraw brings in a fun physical play style that teams are going to really love. But what goes up must come down. Here are the negatives for him. First off, Rakestraw is a smaller corner like his teammate Abrams Drain. This time he's 5'11", 183, 4 pounds heavier at the same height. He does have a tendency to grab when he gets beat, shown when trying to slow down receivers going vertical. That's another reason why he could be the Porter Jr. of this class, as he did the same thing. Finally, he's an inconsistent tackler who has missed 13.8% of his tackles in his career. Rakestraw's physicality is going to draw in teams fast, but it could also turn away teams just like they turned away JPJ. Yet Rakestraw still gets an A- grade, which is an early second round nod and a 73 overall. Number 4 is a guy who has lost stock, but I still love him as a prospect, and I also love his name. Obviously, I'm talking about Alabama cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry. The first of 2 Bama corners to make the top 4. I absolutely love the play style that McKinstry brings along. That play style, just like Rakestraw, is a physical one where he can knock receivers off routes at super good rates. He also is one of the best press coverage defenders in this class, providing a great jam and is very hard to beat there. Alongside the physicality, he's super explosive off the snap and has amazing short burst. He's got the top-notch arm length as well that will bring ball skills upside and value to the NFL. He also does not bite on combo routes often, he deconstructs run blocks at good rates, and he adds value as a punt returner. So McKinstry has a physical play style, but there's more to his game than just the physical tools. And there's more than just positives in his play style, and these weaknesses are why teams are lower on him than I am. His ball skills in college kinda blew. They were underwhelming for a guy who came in with so much hype as a high school prospect. His footwork also doesn't flash a lot of potential, as he doesn't move amazing laterally, and he relies on his physical tools to cover instead of that footwork and anticipation. On top of that, he produces inconsistent results when covering vertical routes, and his production took a dip from 2022 to 2023. So he's falling on boards because his sophomore year was better than his junior year, but I still loved watching his junior year just as much. He gets an A- grade, an early second round nod, and a 73 overall, just like Rakestraw. With 3 prospects left, we're going to stay at the exact same grade as the last 2. So at number 3, I have Toledo cornerback Quinyon Mitchell. He is higher on a lot of boards, and on some he's cornerback 1, but I just didn't see it enough to give him a first round grade. Anywho, Mitchell didn't get that first round nod for a few reasons. First off, he leaves too much space in off-man coverage, giving too much of a cushion to allow many catches in that way. His zone transitions are also a bit questionable, and they can be a tad late at times. Along with that, he tends to hesitate in man, which is a slight negative to his click and close ability. And a minor observation, but 4 of his 6 career interceptions came in the same game. Yet, obviously, Mitchell is number 3 for a reason, and he brings a lot of strength to his game. Mitchell's positives begin with his athleticism, as he has the explosiveness and short burst to close in extremely quickly with his anticipation, and he has elite deep speed to go stride for stride on vertical routes. He also has great length and timing to have fantastic ball skills, and more upside with that in the league. At its best, his anticipation is phenomenal and is some of the best in this class. He provides a lot of patience when going for tackles in the run and won't miss a lot of those, and he is super scheme versatile with his ability to play in man and many zone coverages. Mitchell is the consensus cornerback 2 in this class, and as I said, some of them have him at cornerback 1, but he's my number 3. Nonetheless, he's still a great prospect. As I said, same exact grade as McKinstry and Rakestraw. A-, early second round nod, 73 overall. 2 prospects left. One of them has a first round grade, the other one just barely missed out on one. So who comes out in first? Well, before then, I can tell you who came out second, and that is Alabama cornerback Terrion Arnold. Arnold is the consensus cornerback 1 in this class, but he just falls one spot to be number 2. Where does Arnold win to the point where he's sought out so much? Well, behind elite production, he's got phenomenal footwork and lateral ability to mirror receivers in many ways. That includes going vertical, and he's got the deep speed to go stride for stride on those routes. He's also a high IQ cornerback, being able to keep eyes on the ball and defend differently depending on the situation. He has top-notch footwork not just in man, but also in zone, having the active and quick feet to close in quick. He also provides value as a run defender, being able to deconstruct blocks well and jump off them if need be. So he wins in man coverage, zone coverage, and run defense. So you might be asking, where does he lose? Well, he loses with his anticipation. It's not bad by any means, but it's not good enough, and teams are not going to like that when scouting him. It's mainly because he leaves too much space in off-man anyways. He's also an inconsistent tackler with okay technique, and he can bite on combo routes at times. But that's basically it. It's just a very concerning anticipation that holds him back. Arnold is a freak in coverage, and he is able to provide an impact in many different ways. He receives an A grade with an early second round nod and a 74 overall, and he is currently the highest non-first round grade on my big board, but he also wasn't too close to number 1. So who is number 1? Well, without further ado, the number 1 cornerback in the 2024 NFL Draft is none other than Clemson corner Nate Wiggins. Wiggins has been very high on my radar for months now, and I'm glad to say that his film absolutely backed up the hype. Wiggins has such an intriguing combination of physical and athletic traits, which is why I'm super high on him. Physically, he jams well in press coverage, especially given his size at 173 pounds. Athletically is really where he wins, as he has the best speed in this cornerback class, he has the lateral ability to mirror receivers and the footwork to rarely get lost, and he has the explosiveness right off the snap to impact immediately. Outside of these traits, his top-notch length allows for great ball skills and more upside in that aspect. He has fantastic zone coverage instincts, he's a high IQ heads-up player when in man coverage, and he can play both man-heavy and zone-heavy NFL schemes. The sheer amount of positives is what sold me on Wiggins from the get-go, and I'm sure that I just sold a lot of you guys on him. The negatives are absolutely there, and I would be lying if I said they were not concerning. His lean frame and upright play style allows for him to get knocked off balance too much for comfort out of his back pedal. He also makes a lot of big plays, but he also gives up too much, which is like your Deron Bland of college football. But his most concerning weakness is how he gives a lot of space when in off-man coverage, and that cushion is just too much for my liking. And that's all I have to say. Wiggins, in my opinion, is not only the number 1 corner in this class, but he is also the number 1 defender in this entire class. Wiggins receives an A grade, which is a first round grade, and that goes over to a 77 overall player. So, those are my top 10 cornerbacks in the 2024 NFL Draft. What did you think of my list? What is your top 10? Let me know in the comment section below. Wait, are you not subscribed yet? Well, do it now. I release content like this all the time and would really appreciate your support. I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and I will see you all next time.